A stereotype is defined as an overgeneralized belief about a particular category of people. Teens are often correlated to numerous stereotypes. Common stereotypes on teens include that we are lazy, addicted to our phones, rebellious, risky, and moody, and easily peer pressured. But everyone has no doubt heard one of these stereotypes in their lives and has maybe even been called one. But these are just stereotypes and in no way define who you are as a person. You can't place a stereotype on a group until you have met every person in that group. You can't place a stereotype on teens in a whole until you have met every teen. One of the most common stereotypes on teens is that we are addicted to our phones. Our generation is all about the advancement of technology, so most teens do own a phone. Adults don't understand growing up with a phone because their generation didn't. Adults should stop viewing phones as mind-numbing devices and instead see them as part of a society that is here to stay. Another stereotype with phones is social media. Teens are often stereotyped to go on social media for excessive amounts of time. Then again, we grew up with social media. It is widely relevant in our generation and gives us a chance to express ourselves. Teens also aren't the only ones addicted to our phones. Adults use phones almost just as much as teens do. When you look at mobile usage only, the numbers are not that far apart. But adults yell at us for being addicted to our phones when they use them almost just as much. To some, that might seem a bit hypocritical. Teenagers are often depicted as lazy and unmotivated. But when you look back at this past year, you can see how many examples of just how influential teenagers can be. Take in consideration the kids affected by the shooting in Parkland. They're not backing down. Instead, they're standing up and rallying for a cause they believe in. But some adults say these kids are outliers in a widely lazy and unmotivated generation. I disagree. Julie Lithcott-Hames, author of How to Raise an Adult, says, "We see the negatives of not going outside, can't look people in the eye, don't have to go through the effort of making a phone call. There are ways we seize these efficiencies that social media has offered, but there are obviously tremendous upsides and positives as well." When an adult sees one teen acting rude, they assume something is wrong with our whole generation. It is not fair when they do this because every teen in our generation is different. Each teen has their own individual personality with their own set of interests. Some like to play video games, some like to bake, some like to read, and some do like to go on their phones. Adults cannot look at us from one perspective and see the whole picture. Each teen is their own individual person with their own personality. When a parent views their child's 13th birthday as a gateway to the moody and irrational behavior often associated with teenagers, they will only be doing themselves and their child a disservice. Stereotyping teen behavior can have negative effects on teens. When a parent expects their child to conform to well-known teen stereotypes, their child may be more likely to do so because the parents expect them to. Negative expectations can lead to negative behavior. Morgan Rush, a journalist, says, "It becomes easier for a teen to shrug off a broken curfew rule if rule breaking is a well-known teen stereotype." When an adult stereotypes a teen, that stereotype can affect them in the long term. If a teen is stereotyped to be a troublemaker and then they make choices that reflect that stereotype, those poor choices can affect them for the rest of their lives. For example, if a teen decides to do drugs because it's a choice that reflects their stereotype, that choice can cause them to have legal troubles that affect their future employment and financial security. When someone stereotypes a group of people, they assume that stereotype is true for every person in that category. And that is exactly what people do with teens. They stereotype because it's easy to assume that every teen is the same, but we're not. If an adult stereotypes you, you should not listen to them because that stereotype in no way defines who you are as a person. A stereotype is just a stereotype and is part of a society that needs to go away. Thank you.
Excellent. You did great.
That was awesome.
Isn't she good?